This program is for educational purposes only. Let's go.
Hello, hello. Let's go ahead and open up that waiting room and welcome everybody to another amazing and powerful episode of Daily with Doc and Becca. My name is Becca Dukes, and you are in a treat, folks. You are in for a treat. You are in for a treat. I knew I would figure it out. But anyways, today is Pharmacist Fridays. It's one of my favorite days of the week because we are joined by the one and only Pharmacist Ben Fuchs. He's a renowned clinical pharmacist. He's a nutritional biochemist, and he's a walking encyclopedia of cellular healing and common sense nutrition. And we are so grateful for the wisdom and empowerment that he brings to our community. I want to do a big shout out as we are also a resource for an amazing group of individuals who are health advocates, health professionals, certified holistic health coaches, students, and listeners around the world tuning in each week as this show helps to provide a learning opportunity to help others grow and lead others towards health. So today we're super excited. As you know, I'm always excited. Okay, I'm always excited. But today we are going to be talking, and this is the question of the day: autoimmune. Can you have an autoimmune disease without a gut issue, without leaky gut? Let's be a little more specific. So the nice thing about it, folks, the man of the hour is going to help answer that question. So grab your notebook, invite a friend, and get ready to be encouraged, empowered, equipped, and also be ready to ask questions at the end. So welcome to Daily with Doc, everybody. And folks, if you were invited by somebody specific, because we are that resource for an amazing community, make sure that you get back with them. They are your first point of contact. If nobody invited you, I do have a call team available for you to get a hold of and find out what it is that may be a missing piece in your journey to better health. So, Pharmacist Ben Fuchs, hello and welcome.
Well, hello. Nice to see you. Thank you, Rebecca. And thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you. So, you bring so much information. I mean, you are always out there, looking at what's going on in the health world, concerns, looking at research. And we always are coming up with people with hypothyroidism or autoimmune. Those, they're becoming big problems.
They have been big problems for a long time. Hypothyroidism. But you said a couple of things here. First of all, a guy named Broda Barnes wrote a book in 1980, I believe, in the late 1970s, called Hypothyroidism, the Unsuspected Illness. And in this book, he linked hypothyroidism to heart disease, to cancer, to skin problems, to autoimmunity, to a whole bunch of different health issues. And his book kind of made waves, and it's it's kind of a classic book, but really it didn't need to have a book. It just kind of makes sense when you understand the thyroid. Number one, the thyroid regulates everything. Right. The thyroid gland is right here in your neck, butterfly-shaped gland. The thyroid regulates everything. It's your activating hormone. Thyroxine, thyroid hormone is your activating hormone. And heart cells, they do heart things under the activation of thyroid hormone. Skin cells do skin things under the activation of thyroid hormone. Liver cells, kidney cells, spleen cells, intestinal cells, every cell in your body does what it does under the regulation and command of thyroid hormone. So obviously, if you're not making thyroid hormone, nothing's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed this many years ago, and that's where I came up with the concept of the triangle of disease, where I noticed that the hypothyroidism, is the common factor to all the other health challenges that we deal with, all the other chronic health challenges that we deal with. That's how I came up with this triangle of disease. I also noticed that behind hypothyroidism, there was metabolic syndrome, and there was intestinal dysbiosis. messed up gut bacteria. And that's how I came up with this whole concept of the triangle of disease. What's more, because the thyroid regulates both the digestive system and the blood sugar system, you end up with this circle, this vicious spiral where digestive issues lead to metabolic issues, lead to thyroid issues by way of the adrenal glands, oftentimes, by the way. And then it goes to more, because once the thyroid's messed up, it causes more intestinal problems, more metabolic problems, which lead to more thyroid problems, and on and on and on. It's this vicious spiral. And the reason it's so important is because, three reasons actually. The three reasons why it's so important is because you can't do anything about the diseases that are subsequent or that follow hypothyroidism without working on the triangle. You can't deal with your heart disease without working on the thyroid. You can't deal with your autoimmune disease without working on the thyroid. That means, by extension, the metabolic system and the digestive system. And this is what accounts for our failure, the medical model's failure in treating chronic degenerative disease. It's trying to treat upstream. Downstream. It's trying to treat downstream without working upstream. It's trying to treat at the fruit without the root. That's problem number one. Issue number two is, once you work on the thyroid, everything else will resolve itself. Number three, you can't work on just the thyroid, and anybody who has hypothyroidism knows that the medicine they give you is an abject failure, with the exception of perhaps giving you a little bit of energy sometimes. Why? Because nobody can work on the thyroid. They can only give you thyroid hormone. We have this idea, and it's not just us, the medical community has this idea that if you have hypothyroidism, we'll give you thyroid hormone and you'll be better. That's not how the thyroid works. That's not how any hormone works. And that's the problem with hormone replacement therapy. Hormones are supposed to fluctuate. They're supposed to be responsive to the environment. If you put a bunch of hormone into the system, whether it's thyroid hormone or hormone replacement therapy that women or men go through when they're going through menopause or andropause, you bypass the whole purpose of hormones, which is regulation, up, down, responsiveness, intelligence. In the case of thyroid hormone, it's even worse, because the most common thyroid hormone medication they give you is known as T4, which is what Synthroid is, most commonly prescribed thyroid hormone. Sometimes they give you Cytomel, but it's usually T4. T4 is the inactive or the weakly active form of thyroid hormone. The strong form is called T3. So on the one, you can see all the problems here. Number one, they're not taking care of your thyroid. Number two, they're not even giving you the right hormone. Number three, the problem isn't the hormones, the problem is the gland. And number four, you can't deal with any other chronic degenerative disease without working on the thyroid. And number five, the only way to work on the thyroid is to work downstream, or upstream, I guess you'd say, the digestive system and the metabolic system and the adrenal system. So hypothyroidism needs to be regarded as the tip of the triangle of disease. And the reason we're talking about this is because I saw an article that I got very excited about. Can you post that, AJ? Or put it up? If not, I can read it.
Or I can put it if you don't have it, Jay, I'll find it.
No,
You want the article on the screen, or you just want the link?
Yeah, no, it's okay. You don't have to. The article came from the journal Endocrinology Advisor. Headline, Hypothyroidism History Linked to Small Intestinal Bacterial Overgrowth, SIBO. October 1st, 2025. I've been talking about it for 10 years, for 20 years. I've been talking about this. Don't wait for the doctor to bless these ideas. They're commonsensical. Because hypothyroidism leads to all the other chronic health challenges. It's the jumping off point. It's so darn important. And you could take all the frickin' iodine you want, but if you have a gland problem, it's not gonna help. The gland problem is most often associated with autoimmunity. Most common cause of hypothyroidism is known as Hashimoto's thyroiditis. It's an autoimmune problem. Autoimmunity is always a digestive issue. We'll talk about that here in a second. The second reason why, the second cause of hypothyroidism or reduced thyroid function involves the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands have a reputation for being your stress glands, but they do a lot more than that. They make all your steroid, especially post-menopause for women, all the steroid hormones come out of the adrenal glands, or most of the steroid hormones come out of the adrenal glands. In our culture, our adrenal glands are way overworked because of all the stress we're under, and it's not just psychological stress. When people hear the word stress, they tend to think psychological stress, which is understandable because that's a major part of stress, because the mind or the brain doesn't distinguish between the imagination and the physiology. So if you're worried about your credit card bill, to the body, that feels like a lion is chasing you. So psychological stresses are definitely a big part of the stress response. However, cortisol, which is the main stress hormone, is an anti-inflammatory. So if you have inflammation, if you have an inflammatory attack, and we talked about inflammation, I think, on our last call, there you go. If you have an inflammatory problem, your adrenal glands are also going to be cranking out cortisol. One of the functions of adrenaline and cortisol, the two major stress hormones, is hyperactivity, movement. Cortisol gets your butt out of bed in the morning. Adrenaline gives you the strength to lift a car off of a baby. If you've ever seen those cartoons. Over time, as cortisol secretion is chronically elevated, and adrenaline, the thyroid will slow down to compensate. So the second cause of hypothyroidism is chronic stress or chronic stress response. So the two major causes, and they're related, by the way, are the stress response and dysbiosis. And the middle of the triangle, those are the two extreme points of the triangle. The middle of the triangle is metabolic syndrome, and that's also linked to hypothyroidism, because when your blood sugar fluctuates, cortisol has to pick up the slack. So between these 3 points, adrenal stress, metabolic syndrome, digestive health, you've got the causes of hypothyroidism, and unless you address those 3 points, you're not going to be able to treat it, and this is what accounts for the incredible epidemic of hypothyroid patients. Synthroid and levothyroxine, which is generic Synthroid, thyroid medication is almost every year the #1 or #2 prescribed medication. That's how many people, and some people don't even know they have hypothyroidism. That's just the people who know they're hypothyroid. And by the way, if you have a chronic degenerative disease, you don't need to have your thyroid tested. You can just assume you're hypothyroid. You don't need your thyroid tested if you're symptomatic. Testing companies are incredibly profit intensive, and the motive for testing is just as much financial gain as it is trying to find something that's going on in the body. I'm not blaming doctors for that. That's just the model. So hypothyroidism is an epidemic. You're not going to be able to treat it with Synthroid. You're not going to be able to treat it with, unless you go back to the triangle of disease. And if you have another chronic degenerative disease that's downstream from hypothyroidism, you don't need to be tested. Just assume you're hypothyroid, or downstream from the thyroid. You just assume you're hypothyroid. How do you deal with hypothyroidism? If you're not going to deal with it with iodine, iodine's very important, by the way. Iodine is an incredibly, incredibly valuable, energizing element that a lot of people are, if not completely deficient in it, are getting suboptimum amounts of it, because a lot of people are getting their iodine just to not have a goiter. And it's like we always say, the medical model is not interested in us thriving, they're interested in us surviving. And so iodine and the RDAs in general are designed to keep you alive, not to keep you thriving. You need way more iodine than is the RDA. So I am not dissing on iodine. It's very important. It's a very important element, nutritional element, essential nutrient. And by the way, it's not just essential for the thyroid. Iodine is essential for all your glands, including the adrenal gland. Women who are deficient in iodine have higher risks of breast problems, fibroids, fibrocystic breasts, breast cancer, the breast being a gland, so mammary gland. So iodine is not just important for the thyroid, it's important for all your glands. Iodine is incredibly energizing, and of course iodine is also the activating element for thyroid hormones. So it's very important. I'm not dissing on it, but you're not going to address your hypothyroid issues with iodine unless you have a complete iodine deficiency, in which case you'll have a goiter, and that doesn't happen very much, but then iodine is the treatment. So you got to do way more than just use iodine. That's kind of the thinking, even among functional medicine people, or even among people who understand alternative health. To deal with the thyroid correctly, you do the same thing you have to do for any other health challenge. And that is look for symptoms, put together the picture, and then address everything behind the thyroid. It's always going to involve digestive health. And that's why food, I don't want to beat a dead horse here. We talk about it almost every time with almost every call. Food diary, elimination diet, make sure you're repopulating the intestine with bacteria, good bacteria, address SIBO, I-26, ultimate microbiome, ultimate enzymes. There's a whole bunch of digestive health supplements. Number two, second point, metabolic syndrome. Assume you have metabolic syndrome. Just like you assume you have hypothyroidism if you have a chronic degenerative disease, assume you have metabolic syndrome if you're hypothyroid. In fact, if you're over the age of, say, 30, just assume that you have some degree of metabolic syndrome if you're subsisting on the standard American diet. Certainly if you're symptomatic, metabolic syndrome's involved. That's a healthy blood sugar pack, Fucoid Z, ultimate niacin, ultimate selenium, MSM, Zinc FX. There's a ton of nutritional supplements that you could use for metabolic syndrome, and of course, ketogenic diet, low calorie, etc. That's it. You're not going to work on the thyroid. There's no special way to treat the thyroid. You have to go downstream. Iodine is definitely important. Vitamin A can help. Selenium is important. Sulfur is important. These are all nutrients that play a role in thyroid health. But if you're hypothyroid, you want to regard it as the tipping point, the tip of the triangle of disease, and work on digestive health, metabolic health, and if you want to do one more thing, the adrenal glands. And that means calm the body down, relax the body. And there's also nutrients you can use for the adrenal glands like vitamin B12 and vitamin C and zinc, vitamin B5. These are all very important for adrenal health too. So it's not a difficult procedure. I shouldn't say that. It's not hard, but it requires some work. It's complex. There's things you have to do. You got to change your life. And we should be changing our lives. If we're sick, that's telling you something. If you have a chronic degenerative disease, that's an indicator that we got to do something different. You can't go about your business as usual, even though we're told to go about our business as usual and just be medicated or just be surgically manipulated or have some kind of doctoring done. You've got to change the way you live. And that's not a bad thing because the human body is designed to be 120 years old. And that's what's ahead. That's what's ahead of us if we do affect the changes that we need to affect for dealing with hypothyroidism or anything else.
Okay, so Pharmacist Ben, if I wanted to, and we've gone through this again, so say I have hypothyroidism, history of metabolic syndrome, which there may be some lingering stuff going on. I'm working on my gut. We've talked about SIBO before. What are going to be some of the symptoms that I need to really pay attention to?
Of hypothyroidism?
Mm-hmm.
Fatigue is the biggest symptom. But that's kind of a general symptom because you don't know if you're fatigued because you're staying up late, you're stressed out, or your thyroid's a problem. You don't know why that is. That's a generalized symptom. But that's the major thing. That's the major, because the thyroid's your energizing gland. It gives, like I said, it gives all it gives all the cells of your body the wherewithal to do what they're supposed to do. So general fatigue is the first sign. Then the systems in the body that move the fastest, they're going to be the ones that you notice the most when you're hypothyroid. The two systems that move the fastest are the skin. So skin problems always happen with people who are hypothyroid, particularly dry skin. Also fingernail issues. Your fingernails won't form correctly. Also hair issues. Hair will tend to fall out because the follicles aren't getting what they need. So skin issues are another common sign of hypothyroidism. And the other system that moves the fastest is the digestive system, which, as we said, is regulated by the thyroid. So if you have SIBO, it's hard to know whether you had before, whether the SIBO is the cause or the effect, but it's probably both of hypothyroidism. So to see what the exact symptoms of hypothyroidism are, they're generalized, the body not performing well. But like I said, if you have another chronic degenerative disease, assume you're hypothyroid. In fact, just assume you're hypothyroid no matter what. what harm can it do to assume you're hypothyroid? You'll be working on your digestive system. You'll be working on your metabolic system. You'll be doing your nutritional supplementation. Just assume you're hypothyroid, particularly if you have notice that you're aging faster, you have skin or hair problems, or you have digestive health problems. But really, because the thyroid regulates everything, anything's possible. So that's why I say just assume you're hypothyroid.
And if you're not hypothyroid and you're doing all of these things, you're going to feel even better than better,
Exactly,
right?
exactly. So what? Just assume it. In fact, just assume you have metabolic syndrome and work on your blood sugar. And pretty much it's a good bet because most people have metabolic syndrome, including me, and most people have a certain degree of hypothyroidism as they get older anyway. So just assume it. But the point I want to make is that you can't treat the thyroid directly. That's the main point. There's nothing that you can do to treat the gland. All they can do is replace the hormone, but they can't treat the gland. There's no drugs that will treat the gland. There's no nutritional supplementation that will treat the gland. Unless, like I said, unless you're frankly deficient in iodine, have a serious deficient in iodine. Aside from that, you can't treat the gland. You got to go backwards. That's the main point. Adrenal health, metabolic health, digestive health. That's how you deal with hypothyroidism. And that's not a message you're going to hear from anybody. However, it's common sense. And that's really the most important point. Everything we're talking about here is common sense. So you say, what is the main mechanism for all this stuff? Okay, so the digestive system, the blood sugar system, and the adrenal glands are the precursors to hypothyroidism. What's the main mechanism? All disease is cell disease, but all cell disease is preceded by
dirty blood.
Dirty blood. Dirty blood. I love talking about these mechanisms. I find it so fascinating. I love connecting the dots. I think it's brilliant, and you guys do too. That's why you're on the call. You know, it's so fascinating. It's so interesting how everything is put together. But you don't need to know it because it's all blood driven. Everything comes from the blood. All disease is related to something that's getting into the blood. And when you think about it, of course, that makes sense. The blood's distributing oxygen. The blood is distributing nutrients. The blood is detoxifying. The blood is generating electrical charges. And this is why essential hypertension is such a problem. I know we've talked about it before, but for people who are new or just to reinforce, essential hypertension affects an incredible amount of people. Probably 60 to 70% of Americans have some degree of hypertension, and 95% of that is essential. What's with the epidemic of hypertension? What the heck is hypertension? What is high blood pressure? When the blood doesn't circulate because it's dirty and sticky and sludgy, tissues do not get oxygenated, tissues don't get nutriated, tissues accumulate toxicity. The brain reads that because the brain is constantly reading all the what's in the blood and what's in the nutritional status or the health status of all the different organs, and it says, okay, there's not enough perfusion. Perfusion means blood supply. There's not enough perfusion to the spleen. There's not enough perfusion to the lungs. There's not enough perfusion to the heart or the brain or whatever. So guess what it does? It cranks up the pressure. High blood pressure is a compensation. It's a compensatory mechanism to address poor perfusion secondary to dirty blood. And this is why when the doctor looks for something, he doesn't see any reason. They call it essential hypertension. There's no reason for the hypertension because they're not going back. They're not working backwards. Mm-hmm. So what do we do when we go to the doctor for high blood pressure? We get a mechanical or a pharmacological solution. It's almost like they pry open. Think about it. They're like prying open the blood vessels with a jack or something, some kind of tool. They're forcing it open. That's why beta blockers and calcium channel blockers are so problematic, because they're forcing the body to do what it doesn't want to do. They're forcing the body to shut down its adaptive mechanism. And I sometimes wonder how many people end up with problems with their spleen or their intestine or their breasts or any other organ of the body because they're on a beta blocker, which is dropping the pressure and keeping the tissues from getting oxygenated or nutriated or detoxified. So essential hypertension is a classic sign of dirty blood. It's the body's response to dirty blood. When I say dirty blood, it's inflamed blood. The blood is an organ. It gets inflamed, just like any other part of the body. There's a protective response. Inflammation is a protective response. It happens in the blood. Remember, the blood is a very, very complex system. It's not just red fluid. It's got all kinds of stuff, and it has to be kept just at the right temperature and fluidity and viscosity and oxygenation. And all these criteria have to be just so for the blood. And the connective tissue, the fascia, is a filter for the blood. So when the blood is traveling through the connective tissue, the toxins are being sieved out into the connective tissue, which of course leads to immune reactions in the connective tissue, also the glands. So you got a whole bunch of problems, and they all come from one place, which is dirty blood. Where does the dirty blood come from? Digestive toxicity and glycation, sugar. And insulin doesn't help because insulin revs everything up. So it's like adding gasoline to the fire. So between insulin and sugar and toxicity that's coming in from a leaky gut, you got everything. So that seems so easy, doesn't it? You just change what you're putting in your mouth and get on a good nutritional supplement program. It's really that simple. We've created this entire industry. The institution of medicine has become this financial juggernaut where we spend literally trillions of dollars every year. What do we get for that? We're sicker
and sicker.
It's craziness. Yeah. It's utter craziness. So yes, it's not easy to change the way you eat, but there's a great reward at the end of the day, especially if you're dealing with a chronic degenerative disease. Nutritional supplementation can help. And also, you don't have to be 100%. If you have some kind of food intolerance and you eat 50% less, you'll get 50% of the benefits. You eat 80% less, you get 80% of the benefits. You eat 100% less, you'll get 100% of the benefits. You decide. You don't have to have zero tolerance. You know, there's this idea, and probably the biggest problem we have when this whole idea about food and metabolic syndrome, which is, these are food issues, is the guilt, the emotions, the baggage, the childhood issues, the parenting issues. That's really the problem. And I know I can tell when I'm talking to somebody about food, and we all automatically either go into a guilt trip or we automatically go into resistance. I can't do that, or I always eat good. I make sure I eat good. And, I hear this all the time. If you're sick and you say, I eat really well, which I hear all the time, then you don't understand how this thing works. And by the way, eating well might not be eating well for you. In other words, foods that are so-called good foods might not be good for you. There are histamine-containing foods that you would think would be good foods, but they're not. They're not for you. So you have to go by your symptoms. By their fruits, you will know them. Look for your symptoms. That's how you assess everything. If you think you eat good and you have symptoms, then you don't understand how this whole thing works. Or eat well.
So, folks, if you have symptoms of poor health, start with the gut. Clean the dirty blood.
Always start with always start with the gut. Just because something is a so-called good food, eggplant or tomatoes or whatever, oranges, doesn't mean you're out of the woods, because these foods can activate allergic mediators like histamine, and a lot of health problems come from these allergic mediators. And by the way, leftovers can generate histamine too. Wine and cheese. I think I said this last time. I can't tell you the amount of women I talk to who have hot flashes and menopausal symptoms, and they refuse to get off the wine and cheese. And that's fine. I don't care, but you can't. Wine and cheese are classic histamine producers, and they're classic metabolic syndrome inducers. Wine is anyway. So you can't, there's a price to be paid for certain things.
Okay, so let's talk about cheese.
Cheese is
I
a
can leave
histamine
the one
producer.
behind. Any cheese, whether it's a hard cheese.
The aged cheeses, the ones that are aged, the aging process is what generates the histamine.
The aging
Gouda's Gouda's one of the worst. Cheddar, the ones that have the kind of like bite to them, those are the ones that have the most histamine in them.
Oh, the strong flavor, like
the
blue
really
cheese.
Strong flavors. What's that? Blue cheese, probably.
Blue cheese.
Yeah. And the ones that are aged longer and have that kind of bite from the aging process, those are the ones that have the histamines in them.
Okay, so what would be a symptom of histamine?
Rashes, allergies, um, reproductive issues, bad menstrual cycles, endometriosis,
Okay. And a food that creates a histamine
jitteriness, anxiety,
response for,
jitteriness. What's that?
okay. So a food that creates a histamine response for one person may not be the same for everybody, right?
Correct, depending on your load, on your immune load. So
Okay.
that's why I always tell people to do a food diary so you can see what your particular issues are.
Yes.
And you always
And
want to,
we're
that's why I don't like the good food, bad food list, because everybody's got their own issues. And I mean, there's certain foods that are definitely bad for sure. You know, obviously
Yeah.
potato chips and, you know, donuts, those are going to be bad for everybody. But the thing is, there's certain foods that we consider to be good foods, but they can have, because of their histamine content, they can be problematic.
Okay. So we just need to.
Smoked meats are one of the worst, by the way. Processed meats are one of the worst.
Oh yeah.
Salami, ham, bruschetta, sausage.
All of those quick things that you just go up, pick
Yeah.
it up, put it on a
All
piece of
American foods.
bread, lathered with everything else, and yeah. So, okay. So we're going to be doing things more natural, whole foods, paying attention. If we put it in our mouths, how does our body respond?
Yes, that's the key. How does your body respond to a specific food? And you got to sometimes be vigilant. You know, you got to kind of pay attention because it's hard to say. And then there's the FODMAPs food too. That's a whole nother thing. The FODMAPs, right? So you
Yeah.
can't go by what everybody says is good. When I hear people have a health challenge, they say, but I eat well. Immediately I say, what makes you say you eat well? Oh, well, it's what I read on the internet or what the doctor told me or, you know, what the conventional wisdom is.
Right. So, okay. And then there's also the quality of food. I mean, you can get a cheaper version of something that's not going to have the nutritional value.
Processing will tend to be a problem. Yes, they're not going to have the nutritional value if they're like, sometimes they'll dry foods or they're somehow make chips out of foods. All of those probably have much less nutritional value. I should also tell you there are vitamin C is an antihistamine. Cannabinoids like the hemp FX have antihistaminic properties. Melatonin has antihistaminic properties. Zinc has antihistaminic properties. You can actually buy something called DAO, diamine oxidase, which is like a natural antihistamine. You could get that as a supplement. So there are kind of strategies that you can use if you do have a histamine response or you're eating a food where you absolutely love that you don't want to stop. There are strategies you can use, but it's still a good idea to avoid these kinds of foods.
Okay, now you did mention something, and it has to do with one of the questions that came in, and that is zinc.
Yes, zinc is.
Gloria, Gloria is wanting to know what is a minimum daily dosage for zinc?
You know, the RDA is around 10 milligrams, or 15 milligrams, something like that. I recommend 50 milligrams, 50 a day. You don't want to take too much zinc, but 50 milligrams is a good place to be. And the form of the mineral also is important. And that's, you know, like Doc's always been talking about. You're not going to get enough of the zinc in the plant-derived mineral, so you got to kind of have extra zinc, and that's why we have the Zinc FX.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And we have, Zinc FX. We got rid of the other one. But all right. Well, let's go to some questions if you're ready to go to questions.
Yes. And by the way, zinc is almost like, I don't want to say the cure, but if you have a deficiency, it is like a cure for acne. Zinc deficiency you can induce acne in laboratory animals by depleting zinc from their diets. And zinc deficiency is very common.
Okay. We should have a show just on zinc sometime.
Yeah, zinc is crazy important. And it's one of the most common nutritional deficiencies, zinc. Zinc and magnesium are probably the two most common mineral deficiencies, I should say.
Good to know. AJ, what question do you have for Ben today?
Pharmacist Ben, back to the triangle
Yes.
of disease.
Yes.
This article intimates that it's the thyroid causing
the SIBO.
SIBO.
Yes. That's the triangle. That's that circle.
Okay, but the chicken came before the egg. So what are we saying?
Which came first, the chicken or the egg? I would guess SIBO comes first. I'll tell you why. Because for most of us, not all of us, but most of us, when we're born into a world of nutritional deficiencies that primarily affects the intestine first. So I would say first is the intestinal issues, because we're eating baby food and we're drinking formula, or if we get breastfed from moms that aren't competent nutritionally themselves. So for most people, and certainly if you're cesarean section, which a third of babies are cesarean section, you're going to come out without that bacterial bath, or that immersion in bacteria that a baby has as he or she passes through the birth canal. The baby is bathed with a coating of bacteria. That bacteria go into the baby's nose and mouth and implant in the intestine. A third of babies don't have that. Once the bacteria implant, they have to be nourished, and the implantation has to take and components in breast milk feed those bacteria and ensure implantation. If the breast milk isn't, some babies aren't even breastfed, or if they're breastfed, they're not breastfed long enough, or they're breastfed long enough, they're not breastfed from nutritionally competent moms. So I would guess that SIBO is the first thing that happens. And then what do babies eat? What do you feed? What do parents feed their 2-year-olds when their 2-year-olds are bouncing off the walls? They tend to eat baby food and high carbohydrate foods and sugary foods.
Apple juice
and pear juice and applesauce and those kinds of foods, which feed the bacteria. So I would say SIBO probably comes first if I had to guess.
Okay, Pharmacist Ben. So then the question:
babies aren't born hypothyroid.
So the question, I gotta nail you down to this question: can you have an autoimmune disease without a leaky gut?
No, not possible. If you understand the mechanism of autoimmunity, which I kind of just told you, I didn't say it exactly, but once toxicity first of all, what is autoimmunity? Autoimmunity is when the immune system attacks various systems in the body. So if you ask your doctor or the mainstream, they'll say, your autoimmune system is just crazy. It's just stupid. It's stupid immune system. It makes mistakes. No. Doctors make mistakes. Immune system doesn't make mistakes. There's no mistakes. What the immune system does is it perceives parts of the body, the thyroid or the intestine or whatever, pancreas, wherever you have your autoimmune, the nervous system, as foreign. Why would it perceive it as foreign? What is creating that distortion? Let's just take the thyroid, for example. What's creating the distortion in the thyroid? Why are the thyroid cells, because everything's cells, why are the thyroid cells distorted? Well, the distortion comes from toxicity that has gotten dumped into the thyroid. And when you think about it, much of that toxicity from foods, from peptides, from components in foods, they're similar molecularly to the thyroid. They call that molecular mimicry. So when you have toxicity that gets into the thyroid, in a way, it's like it looks to the body like the enemy has gotten into the system somehow. And so the body turns its armamentum on the enemy, what it thinks is the enemy, which is the distorted tissue. How does the tissue get distorted? It's from toxicity that gets dumped into the tissue. Where does the toxicity come from? Comes from the blood. That's the only place it can come from. The life of the flesh is in the blood. It's all about the blood. It's all about the blood. If you remember nothing else, it's all about the blood. Yeah, the blood gets toxic from glycation, from sugar. Remember, sugar is a toxin. And then it gets toxic. It gets toxic from stuff that gets in from the intestine. Remember, the intestine is yucky. It's got all kinds of stuff in there. It's brown and it's mushy and it's slimy and there's bacteria and you don't want that in your blood. You're pooping that out. You don't want to go back into your blood. Of course you're going to have a problem.
Don't want poop in my blood.
No, and it's not exactly that, but it's on the way to being that. And you don't want that in the blood. So of course you're going to have a problem. No, there's no autoimmune. There's no disease. AJ, forget autoimmunity. There's no disease that doesn't get into the blood, that doesn't start off in the blood. How can a disease happen if it doesn't start off in the blood? A chronic degenerative disease. How?
You know what?
And that's why I know everybody likes when I talk, but that's why I want to get your doctor on these calls. That's why I want to get a health professional on these calls so they can tell me. I can say, what are you thinking? What is going through your head? How can you not see that this is a blood issue? How can you not see that autoimmunity is about the blood? What are you missing? Everybody on this call can see it. That's why I want to, if you have healthcare professionals, bring them on the call, doctors especially.
All right, Pharmacist Ben. I'm gonna depart here and let you take some of the other questions.
Yes.
But thank you for that clarification.
Yes.
And no disease without dirty blood.
Correct.
Would folks benefit by reviewing the Triangle of Disease website?
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I imagine they would. And by the way, you can clean the blood. One of the best strategies for cleaning the blood is right here. This is one of the best ways to clean the blood. The plant-derived minerals, the ionic minerals specifically, not even the plant-derived minerals, the ionic minerals in here are natural blood cleansers. Ultimate enzymes is a natural blood cleanser. They're nattokinase, which is in the nightly essence, that's a natural blood cleanser. Vitamin C is a natural blood cleanser. Ultimate selenium, ultimate MSM, these are natural blood cleansers. So in addition to the Fucoid Z also, in addition to eliminating the stream of toxicity, you can chelate toxins out of the blood. You can clean the blood through magnetic attraction. You can also patch up a leaky gut, collagen peptides, Fucoid Z, glucogel caps, anything, the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack can help strengthen the intestinal lining. So it's not just, eliminating the foods is the most important thing, but you can strengthen the intestine and you can also clean the blood using nutritional supplementation. Were you going to say something?
Well, yeah. Can your blood get too clean?
No. What do you mean, too clean? No.
Yeah. So
when you're a baby, when you're a newborn, your blood is perfectly clean, assuming you're healthy and you're healthy in the womb. Yes, your blood is perfect. You want to get back to the state your blood to get back to the state you were when you were a baby, when you were born. No, you can't. Your blood can't become too clean. When you say clean, I'm being it's not really dirty blood. I'm using kind of colloquialisms. It's not dirt that's in the blood. It's viscosity and it's coagulation that comes from an immune reaction, literally an inflammatory immune reaction in the blood. So I'm saying dirty blood just to be graphic, but it's not dirt. It's immune activated blood, hypercoagulable blood. That's what doctors call it, hypercoagulable blood.
Okay. Mary, did you have a question still?
Yes. Yeah, I didn't know if my hand had come down. Can you hear me?
It did. Oh, yes. Mary, what question do you have for Pharmacist Ben today?
Hi, Mary.
Perfect. Hey, Pharmacist Ben. I do have a client, 61, weight 163, is having some concentration issues, feeling kind of lost a little bit, forgetting things and tired. Okay. Started kind of accidentally on the healthy to go pack, which is the pills when you're traveling kind of thing.
Healthy to go pack. I've never.
Well, it's basically Healthy Body Start Pack in pill form. It doesn't have the full concentration of the Healthy Body Start Pack, but it has, all of the. I think it has four BTTs, and then one EFA. A couple of mineral caps and things like that. So she was kind of feeling okay on that. We moved her because it was kind of an accident to order that. So she got the 2.5 Healthy Body Start Pack, which is the full dose. So it's the BTT clearly in the powder form, as well as the osteo and the EFAs, and hasn't felt good on that. It's like that. What do you
mean by hasn't felt good? Hasn't gotten better, or feels bad, or what do you mean by that?
Both.
So she feels bad when she uses the healthy.
Yes, exactly.
So first of all, there's how many products in there? 4?
3.
Okay, 3. The Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the Osteo FX, and the Ultimate EFA.
There's 4.
Right.
What's the 4th?
So there's 4 tablets of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 tablets.
Yeah.
1 mineral cap.
Okay.
1 Ultimate Cal. And then 1 EFA plus.
No, she's talking about the standard. Hang on. She's talking about the standard Healthy Body Start Pack now. They started on the cap. They started on the to go. They're currently talking about discomfort with the standard 2.5 pack.
What does discomfort mean?
Discomfort means back to not having concentration issues, kind of feeling a little lost,
okay, so
tired.
So let me understand this.
Yes.
When she's on this the nutritional supplements, we'll just say,
Yeah.
She feels lost, confused, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And that's the same symptom she has when she doesn't take it.
Yes.
So in other words, it's not making a difference, or it gets worse.
I would say it is the same, about the
Okay.
same.
So it's not me. So she's supplementing and she's not getting better, is what she's saying.
That is correct.
Okay.
Although she felt better with the tablets and the capsules, but it seems like the powders are not sitting well with her.
Okay. So there's too much going on here, but here's the bottom line.
Okay.
Brain fog, confusion, those are secondary symptoms.
Okay.
They're not primary symptoms, in the sense that unless you have a frank deficiency, which happens, you got to work backwards. What else is going on? That's what you need to know. Do you remember my Bob Ross example?
Yes. The dots. You need to know more.
You got to collect the dots before you connect the dots.
Yes.
So we need some dots. Now, that having been said, there's a few different things you could do for brain and mental health and concentration kinds of issues. It's no accident that these things are degenerative. They get worse with time. So, and that's because damage accumulates as we get older. So there's a couple things you could do. First of all, and you definitely want to link it to other things like changes in blood sugar and also digestive health issues.
Yeah.
But in lieu of that, number one, synaptive. That's specifically designed for the brain. Number two, omega-3 fats are also very important for the brain. Number three, magnesium is also incredibly important for the brain, and deficiencies are very common. Number four, if she is ingesting foods that deplete her body of B vitamins, specifically vitamin B1, that can induce confusion. And vitamin B1 is probably vitamin B1 deficiency is probably one of the great underappreciated deficiencies in this country, thiamine deficiency. And then for a couple of reasons. First of all, vitamin B1 controls your nervous system and your brain. So thiamine deficiency will cause all kinds of neural problems, including peripheral neuropathies, cramping, tics, movement disorders, and brain issues. In fact, for alcoholics who are typically going to be deficient in vitamin B1, because vitamin B1 is used by the body to process sugar and alcohol. So when you when you're eating a lot of sugar or you're drinking alcohol, your body's burning through B1, and if you're not replacing it with your Beyond Tangy Tangerine, you're going to be deficient in B1. In fact, B1 deficiency is so intimately connected to mental health issues that when people have people who are experiencing alcoholic psychosis, like psychosis due to alcoholism, they'll literally put B1 right in the veins intravenously as a cure for alcoholic psychosis. So vitamin B1 is incredibly, incredibly important for the brain. Deficiencies are very common. And by the way, because vitamin B1 regulates the nervous system, and this is sometimes missed by people, the nervous system controls the intestine so you can have bowel movements. Vitamin B1 deficiencies will cause chronic constipation. So for patients who are chronically constipated, your Beyond Tangy Tangerine or any of the B1 containing products, we have a bunch of them, can help there. So that's another thing that I would consider, in addition to the magnesium and the omega-3 fats and the synaptive for mental health. But I would want to go back and backtrack to see what else she's going, because that's such a generalized symptom. That's not a specific symptom, brain fog.
And would you say that because she took the tablets first?
I don't really see the distinction.
Do you see a difference between the tablets and the powders?
No, I don't see a distinction, although the reason I like the powder is that you can control your dose more effectively.
Sure.
With a tablet, you can't really dose throughout the day. You have to have one specific dose unless you break the tablet up. You get more control with the powder.
Yeah.
And on top of everything else, there's something very important that happens when Beyond Tangy Tangerine is mixed with water. When Beyond Tangy Tangerine is mixed with water, particularly when you vorticize it, when you put it in a vortex, you're supercharging and structuring the water. So you're getting more valuable liquid. You're getting a wetter water, a more hydrating water when you mix it with Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So the powder is a way superior product than the tablet. Tablets look convenient, obviously. You can travel with it. You know, some people don't like the taste of the powder, whatever. There's reasons to do the tablet. It's still a valuable product, but I'm going powder all the way if I had a choice.
Okay. I'll check on her digestion as well. I think she was taking some I-26, but didn't take it as consistently as she
Well,
probably should have.
I hope everybody understands that SIBO and dysbiosis, by virtue of toxicity that gets into the blood, will affect your brain. Bacteria make chemicals called the gut-brain axis. Bacteria make chemicals that cause anxiety, problems with sleep, depression, mental health issues, brain fog, problems focusing. This can all be the end result of toxicity that's getting into the blood from bacteria. Additionally, good bacteria make one of the brain's most important nutrients, something called butyrate. I don't know if you've heard of this. We've talked about it before. Butyrate is incredibly important for the brain, as well as for the muscles and for the heart, just an all-around salubrious, health-giving nutrient, and bacteria make it. Good bacteria in the intestine make it. So if you're dealing with dysbiosis, you may have some butyrate issues. And also, I should say, butyrate strengthens the colon. It prevents colon cancer. Butyrate is anti-cancer in general, but specifically is anti-colon cancer, and cells in the intestine can work with butyrate specifically. So butyrate is really, really valuable stuff, and it's made by bacteria in the gut. If you're dealing with SIBO or dysbiosis of any kind, in addition to the fact that bacterial toxins will mess up your brain, deficiencies in butyrate will do the same thing. The ketogenic diet is a great way to generate butyrate too.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Mary. Let's scoot on over to Phyllis as we have only a few minutes. Do you have a hard stop?
Yes.
All right.
We'll zoom through a couple of questions maybe. First question, Lillian on YouTube. She says she is hypothyroid but has no digestive symptoms. What would be those symptoms she's supposed to be looking for?
Say that one more time.
Lillian on YouTube says she is hypothyroid, but she doesn't have these digestive symptoms that you're talking about.
She doesn't know she has them, probably.
Aha.
Yeah, because digestive symptoms they go under the radar. If you have a digestive symptom and you've had it for a long time, you don't even notice it. And if you've had it since you were a child, there's no way you can. I mean, how would you ever know? So what I would do, she's hypothyroid, she says she has no digestive symptoms. Obviously, there's no mechanism for that, direct mechanism for that. Stop eating. And it's true for anybody who can't find a digestive symptom. Stop eating for a day or two, fast, and then start eating again. And then symptoms that you were under the radar will become more prominent. You'll notice them more.
So a day or two fast is sufficient to notice because you're kind of resetting your body, your brain.
Yes, you're resetting your body.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Then Robert, you were talking about the meds and how they force your blood vessels to act against the body's natural mechanisms. So if you have high blood pressure, what's the alternative to these medications?
Oh my God, there's so many. Well, first of all, remember high blood pressure is a sign that your blood is dirty. So eliminate the toxicity or the inflammation in the blood. That's the first thing you want to do, and that's everything we talk about. There's also specific strategies for opening up the blood vessels. Warm water, baths, hot showers, or warm showers. Those open up the blood vessels. Oxygenation. And by the way, oxygenation improves blood fluidity. One of the things that happens when the blood becomes viscous is it clumps up. Red blood cells will clump up. So oxygen can be used to spread red blood cells. So oxygenation, make sure you're practicing your deep breathing, your ultimate EFAs. And by the way, you know how they give you an aspirin? They tell you to take an aspirin to prevent blood clots, or if you had a stroke or you had some kind of heart problem, they tell you to take an aspirin. Your ultimate EFAs are nature's aspirin. Aspirin has the same mechanism as the ultimate EFAs. So your ultimate EFAs will also help improve blood fluidity. Glucosamine, the glucogel caps will improve blood fluidity. Fucoid Z will help improve blood fluidity. More water, liquids will help improve blood fluidity. These are all strategies. Movement will help improve blood fluidity. So anything you do to improve blood circulation will help lower blood pressure.
Awesome. Now, AJ says, vote for Ben, hot tubs for every American.
Hot tubs in every American, yes.
After this show, I'm going to go jump in my hot tub because you told me to. So let's go to one more question if you have time. CJ has a question. CJ, can you unmute, please? And what question do you have for Pharmacist Ben today?
Yeah, hi. So I have a vision issue, um, and basically I've been seeing starbursts for like the last 3 years, and it's been progressively getting worse. I've been to all the eye doctors. I used to work in a hospital, so I was able to make frequent appointments, and I've seen all the different specialists, even the optical neurologists, and they are unable to identify what the issue was.
I'm not quite understand. I'm not quite understanding this. Say that again.
You see starbursts.
He eats
Like
Starburst
starburst,
candy.
yeah, in my vision.
No,
So my
that's fine.
Oh, okay, got you. You're seeing starburst in your. Okay, that's a neural issue. That has to do with the optic nerve, and I would say there's some kind of inflammatory condition. Again, you want to backtrack to the main cause. That's a secondary symptom. So if you're seeing you're saying you're seeing starburst in your eye, in your vision,
yeah,
like
in my vision, yep.
yes,
And
that
yeah,
implies there's something inflammatory in the optic nerve. That would be my guess, unless there's something there you have some eye damage, but I don't think you would know if you had some kind of eye damage.
no eye damage because I've been to all the doctors and they haven't been able to
Yeah, it
identify what
sounds
the issue was.
inflammatory. What other symptoms? What's your name? Who is this? Julio?
Chris.
Okay.
Chris. What other symptoms do you have aside from the eye symptoms?
So dry eye, extreme dry eye. They say
Okay.
my moisture is at 0,
Okay,
Recording
basically.
that's
stopped.
interesting. That's interesting. What else? Non-ocular.
Non-ocular, I would say. I mean, I have hypertension, but
Okay, so you see
it's
what's
under
going on here.
control.
There's a lot of stuff happening. So and I don't mean to pick on you here, Chris, but I want everybody to hear this.
Recording
We tend
in
to focus on the
progress.
symptom that we notice, but we don't, and you'll go to the eye doctor, obviously, because you have an eye problem, but the problem is downstream. It's backwards. So hypertension, what does that tell us? There's dirty blood, right? Something's keeping the blood from circulating, right? You with me, CJ or Chris?
Yep,
Okay.
I'm with you.
So there's
I'm with
something
you.
there's something in the blood. Now dry eyes is also a very important symptom. The eyes
So
stay
one of
moist. Let me just say this
one,
real quick. The eyes
uh,
stay moist from fats, essential fats. So that's telling me that either you have an essential fat deficiency, which would imply some kind of digestive or malabsorption issue. It can also be due to autoimmunity. There are autoimmune issues that will cause severe dryness. Do you have any dryness anywhere else? Is it just your eyes?
skin.
Okay, so now we're getting somewhere here. So you don't just have, see, you notice that the eyes problem is the most dramatic, right? And that's what you notice. But you see there's all these other things downstream, and this is how health is done. I want everybody, and I'm going to help you, Chris, because I got to go, but I'll help you off air. Give me a call, and we'll work together. But I want everybody to hear this. It's not what you see, that's the fruit, right, AJ? That's the fruit. You got to go to the root. And the way you go to the root, Chris, is just what we just did here. We got to hypotension, or we got to hypertension. We got to problems with, what was the other thing you said? Dry skin. We got to dry eyes. So we're starting to connect. We're starting to collect the dots. Now we can connect the dots. A picture's starting to emerge. All right, now I don't have time. I wish I had time to work with you like this because I want everybody to hear. But the main take-home message, everybody who's listening, is you got to go down to the root. And the root is always going to involve the blood and the triangle. Okay, so Chris, whoever you're working, who's your upline, Chris? Who are you working with?
I'm not working with anyone.
Well, now you're working with AJ. Okay, AJ, let's do a three-way with Chris. Is that too much?
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Chris, just text me your phone number in the chat.
Oh,
How'd you
okay.
hear about us, Chris?
On YouTube.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. You're going to love it. We're going to take care of you. All right. I
Yeah.
got to motivate. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Pharmacist Ben Fuchs, everybody.
Thank you.
He makes complicated things simple.
It is simple.
And-
I'm not making it simple.
Well, yeah, but the way you explain it. I mean, between you and Dr. Joanne Conway, I mean, we've got President, Vice President of the United States. We're all going to be healthy,
All right.
especially with clean blood, no brain fog, no panic attacks, because that's also linked to that gut brain thing.
All of it.
These
All right.
things.
God bless you all. Phyllis and
All right, God
AJ
bless
and
you,
Albert and
Pharmacist
Becca
Ben
and
Fuchs.
Marilyn. See ya. Bye, everybody. Oh, Mary
Awesome.
too. Bye, Mary.
Mary
See
too.
everybody.
Absolutely. Well, folks, you have been listening to an empowering hour where I hope that you got some information that just clicked. It's like, oh, I've been experiencing that. Take the information that you have learned today and let's apply it as we all are feeling the benefits of the information that Pharmacist Ben has shown in our program, or shared, shown or shared. Since we can see him, that works too. So get back with the person that shared this program with you. And if there is no one to thank, we do have a call team at 855-949-3377. That is for the people who have not already spoken to anybody about longevity, Pharmacist Ben, Dr. Wallach, Daily with Doc, so on and so forth. If you have found this all on your own, you have not tried the products, some of the people on this screen are part of that phone team, as they are all certified holistic health coaches. So I just want to do a shout out and thank my team today. So would not have been able to do it without them. Marilyn, thank you for all the information that you're putting into the chat. I wasn't even able to keep up with everything that was being spoken there. Thank you. I'm glad you can. Albert, thank you for bringing people into the room. As folks, when you're in the waiting room, that's the man that lets you in. So you got to be nice, or he won't let you in. Thank you, Albert. And we have Mary. Mary's out watching, keeping an eye on things, helping to bring in questions. Thank you, Mary, for being part of our team, the newest member of our Daily with Doc Zoom team. So she has been with us for a bit. She's been a certified coach for a few minutes, and building her business and taking it to a very active athletic world. So thank you, Mary, for all that you do. And we have Phyllis, and she is a pioneer in this whole thing that we call a longevity family, as she and her husband, Andy, were very instrumental in getting Dr. Wallach on the radio, and not just on the radio in one city, but syndicated. And I think at one time, Andy said he was involved in 125 different radio stations, getting the program syndicated. So thank you so much, Phyllis. She's also bringing in questions from the different platforms and putting information into the chat. Thank you much. And we have AJ, who makes sure that I don't forget anything. And if I do forget anything, it's his fault. But it's his fault for getting us out on all the different platforms that you have the opportunity of listening to us or watching us on. So thank you so much, AJ, as he is our digital marketing director. And yes, the guy that keeps us in line. So thank you so much, AJ. Folks, if you want to be part of something bigger than yourself, something that's helping others, something that has a purpose, if you have a desire to really make a positive impact in the lives of your friends, in your community, definitely get back with the person that shared this program with you and say, hey, I want to be part of the solution. There are so many problems in this world. Physical, mental, emotional, financial. Well, guess what? We may have the solution for any and all of those for you. So get back with the person that shared this program with you. If there's no one to thank, again, 855-949-3377, as the certified holistic health coaches are also team leaders. So AJ, I saw your hand real quick. What am I forgetting?
You're not forgetting a thing. I just want to do something special, and because I've gotten this feeling, I'm really appreciative for everyone who is on the screen with me, and particularly Becca for even bringing me in to this family. And I appreciate Phyllis and everyone. But you know what? Even the people who are in the Zoom, I really appreciate you folks. I'm going to start with Alexandra and Ann and Beverly and Bill, my buddy Bill, and CJ. Thanks for joining us. And Clint and Christina and Ed and Emma and Emily and Evelyn and Gloria and Greg and our buddy iPad and Jane and Joan and the other Joan and Julio. We hope to see you again on screen. Caleb, Lorna, my good friend Lorna, and Mango, who's here with us almost daily, and Mario and Marlo and Woodring and Mona and Nancy and Nick and Patty and Rance, Rosemary, our good friend Samsung, Zach, and 1209 listening on his phone. We appreciate every single one of you. And I don't want to forget my folks on YouTube, Alfredo and Kiki Soaps, and of course, Olga and Big Bruce and Luda and Robert and Lillian and Paul Burgos and everyone else who tunes in and makes this show what it is, and all you folks on Rumble and Twitter who are watching us live, and people who are listening on the other platforms. We appreciate every single one of you.
Yes, we do. Thank you so much, everybody, for sharing this program and helping us make an even larger impact, as that's what our heart truly is. Not so much for this, not the significance of being on screen, but for truly helping others learn what it feels like to feel great. So, folks, share this program with somebody else, help them feel well as well, and be part of the solution. My name is Becca Dukes. We do have a certified holistic health coach course available. You can get more information about that by going to coach.dailywithdoc.com, as we teach about the 4 areas of health, how they're affected by nutritional deficiencies. But do not stop there, as we also go into that mental, emotional, and financial aspects of having a holistically sound, healthy lifestyle. So, folks, get back to the person and share this program with you. If you have questions, we do take emails, questions@dailywithdoc.com. Again, that's questions@dailywithdoc.com. And don't forget, if you would like to continue to be part of our live Zoom audience, email us and let us know. Make sure that your email is on the list, as we are going to be switching over to invitation only. Email us, zoom@dailywithdoc.com. So until next time, thank you, everybody, for joining us here. Have a fantastic weekend. And Monday, Pharmacist Ben Bites with AJ. Make sure that you're signed up for the newsletter so you know the exact time. Bye for now.
This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wally. This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available.